What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the X-Transbots Paragon, or their version of a masterpiece scale first aid. So this is the third in the series of protected bots from X-Transbots. Thanks to Grand Z for allowing me to take a look at his copy. I'm not collecting these. The Chosen Prime was doing exclusives with the G2 colors on these, so I did look at those. The G2 Fuzz, which was like a black and blue, and then the G2 Jokund, which was a orangish bike, you know, for Groove. And now we're looking at this guy, and I do believe they're going to do a G2, but it's not going to be under the Chosen Prime label. It'll be on their own, I guess. But thanks to Grant for allowing me to take a look at this. I wasn't planning to pick it up myself. Now, it does have some really nice looking details in the ambulance mode. You got translucent red for the emergency lights, translucent blue all the way around for the windows. You have orange markers here with black paint here, and for the bumper, metallic black. Silver paint for the lights with a little bit of translucent plastic for the lights themselves. On the side, we got the little, I guess, emergency triangle with the emergency written right here, and then silver along the side and as well for the handles. You have die-cast wheels with rubber tires. When I first took this out of package, one of the wheels just fell off. This one actually just fell right off, but it just so happens the screw wasn't tightened. So I did tighten the screw and it's fine now, but I just wanted to mention that happened. It does roll fine, no issues. Later on when we get it transformed, this may happen, so I'm just going to show you now. These come off really easily, the emergency lights. So if they fall off, just know that they pop right back on. They just don't stay all that well. But underneath is silver, so that gives it that look. But overall, yeah, a really nice looking ambulance. It does have some features, so you can open up the doors. And there is a little cockpit in there. There's seats and I guess a dashboard. Let's open this side. Same thing. Not really a dashboard, just kind of like a piece there. But I couldn't find any figures that fit. This is the Spike from MP10, and he just won't go because there's no space for the legs. So I'm not sure who would fit in there. But it does have an interior and it does have a seat. Maybe one of those little Diaclone figures might go in there. I don't know. Then we also get an opening trunk, which is part of the transformation. And actually, it might be easier if you just grab a spudger and pop that open. And that's pretty cool. You know, it opens up and has a little bit of storage for the gun. So this is the gun. You don't want to fold it up like this. This will sit right here. You can see there's a little half circle indent right here. So this will fit in that half circle indent. It doesn't fit all that securely. Honestly, it's just, you know, not even press fit. But once you put it in there, you can close the door and it will hold that gun in there. So I do appreciate the gun storage. That's pretty nice. And for size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square Optimus Prime. Fits in nicely in the masterpiece scale. I think they nailed the overall scale of this. All right, now let's get this guy transformed into, actually we're gonna go to combined mode first, just because it's very easy from here. And I did want to mention, I am going to do a comparison with the Ocular Max version of First Aid. So that's why I didn't bring it in here, because we're going to do a full video. In robot mode, we will do a quick comparison, but you'll get a full video later. So to get him into combined mode, it's actually pretty simple. We're going to pull apart here. And there's a little button here. It's actually really irritating to press the button and pull apart at the same time, but if you hold it with your thumb, so that little red button right there, hold that in with your thumb, you can maybe detach this. It's like I said, it's kind of irritating to get it. There we go. So you can see it's a mushroom peg that fits into here, and then this kind of grabs onto it, but it's really hard to get it out. And guess what? It's really hard to get it back on. So just be forewarned about that. Putting it back on, you're going to need to transform it, or you're going to have the really small fingers. Here is the combined mode arm, and they decided to make it a whole separate piece. I actually don't hate this. I think it's pretty good looking. There's one little caveat I'll mention once we get it transformed, but you're going to take this, rotate this around. You can actually see there's a little tool bay right there. I thought that was pretty neat. You can make this into a med bay if you want to. I will probably show that later, but you can get this transformed into med bay. You're going to rotate this around and something like this, and we can even take the little armatures out. They're stored in here. And I'm not going to bother with the med bay again after this. That's why we're looking at it now. And it's got little, it's got a little welding piece there, and it's got a little pincer arm here. So you can make a little med bay out of it. Personally, I think this is kind of silly. There's really no value in this, but it's there if you want to do it. So I wanted to show it. So let's put that away. You can just sit those like that. So let's turn this back around, close that back up, and then we're going to collapse this. By the way, it does have a piston here. It is die cast. So this piece right here is die cast. The rest is plastic, so I don't know. All right, so we're going to rotate this around and just leave this out like this for now. And it's actually the opposite of what you think. This piece is going to go here. So you can see there's 2 pegs here and then 2 on each side. They're going to fit into these slots here. So get that attached, and that sits very nicely there. And then we're going to peg this in on the bottom. So there's 2 pegs right here going into 2 slots on the bottom of the vehicle. And then another peg right here that's fitting right into a slot right there. So it does actually, kind of hold pretty well. And then this kind of fits over the bumper, and that gives you a really good grip. That's mostly what's holding it on, is this going over the end of the bumper. All right, and then we got to take this piece, and same kind of thing. We can tuck this in. And then same thing, 2 slots, and then 2 slots there, and then 4 tabs on here. And this will fit right on there. And I've had a little trouble getting the top to, oh, there we go. I got it now. So there you go. Here's the arm. I think it's pretty good. I actually think this combined mode is going to be pretty amazing. Later, when we talk about final thoughts, I'll get into a little bit more, but I do think this is the main reason why you would buy this figure. It's a really nice looking hand. It's got nice articulation. 1, 2 pins, and then a outer movement on a hinge here, and then another pin at the base. And then the thumb has a pin and a rotation joint here. So really good looking and good working hands, especially for X-Transbots. I think they went above and beyond on these hands. It does have an in and out movement. It does have a rotation, although I wish that was ratcheted, but that's okay. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Now, will it be strong enough? I don't know. It's hard to tell how this is going to attach. I mean, it looks like it's just going to peg in. I worry a little about how this will fit together. It looks like there's a triangle piece here and here, so that's going to probably have a puzzle piece fit on top of that. So I'm not 100% sure. I assume it's going to work well, but the rotation here, outward movement on the arm here, on that shoulder joint. You have a double jointed elbow here and here, and then you have a piston inside here. I like that a lot. I think that looks really good. Let's see what happens. Yeah, if you extend the top one first, you can extend that piston out. But that's really nice. And then I showed you the hand already. All right, and for a quick size comparison, there it is next to the Toy World Constructor arm, just to give you a sense of the scale. Pretty similar in terms of the forearm, about the same size hand, and about the same size bicep. This is a bigger vehicle, so it does, kind of take up more space. So I think it's gonna be a pretty big combiner. It's gonna look good. Yeah, there you go. All right, now let's get it transformed into robot mode. And I've definitely been dreading doing this. It's just not a fun transformation, but go ahead and unplug this. And we can also unplug this. This is going to basically open up here and fold down. Just gotta get it past this bumper. And then unpeg it from the front. And then you can just set this aside. We don't need that right now. All right, you can transform it together. But like I mentioned earlier, getting this back in here is really challenging, to the point where it's not really necessary for us to do this. It's just going to make our job harder. So since we're going from combined to robot, we'll just get it combined when we're ready. So let's start with this part here. So we can go ahead and open up the doors. Just get those out of your way. Come to the top here, we can unpeg these arms from each other, just peg right in the middle. Open up these, and you can fold up the window to the inside. Now that we've got this unpegged, you can just kind of get these out of the way. And if we come to the front here, we can unpeg this windshield from here. Just fold that up and just leave that out of the way for now. On the bottom here, we're going to unpeg the front bumper. It's just tabbed in here and here. Rotate this around, fold these in, and that will sit right there for now. Go ahead and fold these seats. And actually, sorry, before you do that, we have to get this out of the way. So come to the bottom. And we can take these pieces here, actually lift up this whole thing on this armature. These pieces here are going to unpeg from here, and that'll separate the front of the chest from the back, and also gives you a little room to work. We're going to take all of this. This is going to accordion up and out. I hate the idea of plastic moving plastic, but that is kind of what you have to do. But you can get the arms relatively clean out of there. Just a little bit of rubbing, not too much. All right, now we have this open. We might as well take the head out of here. So fold that out. And before you combine, you're going to pull out on the chest. So it looks like this. And now this will collapse in. There's two pegs on the back of these pieces you just rotated right here. They're going to slots in there. And that's kind of what holds the back to the chest. All right, this is how we're looking. You can bring these arms down and out of the way for now. All right. Back here, we're going to take this and this will come inwards. Fold these in, and those will sit on the inside like that, kind of butted up against each other. All right, next we're going to take this piece right here. This is going to come under the head. And there's a little slot right there is what the neck is going to tab into. So you have to get that all the way back. Getting this back out is kind of annoying. There's also two black tabs on the front of these bumper pieces that are going into slots on the white tab. So get that all pegged in and then get the head or the neck down into that little groove. And that actually holds the backpack on. All right, so this is how we're looking. Bring the door down And that's going to sit on the side. You're going to have the glass underneath. Same on this side, bring the door down. This will come up. We're going to rotate this around. There's a little tab right here and a little slot right there. So get that pegged in. I think I just had the lighting wrong this whole time, so my apologies. Then we can unpeg the arm, the forearm from the back of the arm. Open this up. We can open up this panel. And I guess we gotta first open up the elbow. Or is it keep the elbow closed? Yeah, sorry, keep the elbow closed. Push in to get the hand out. Then rotate. On the inside here, you're gonna push the emergency light in there. This is where I had it fall off before, so just be cautious about that. And then to make the hand not look goofy, just kind of open it up a little bit. Otherwise it looks weird. Right? And what happened here? There we go. That's how you should be looking on the back. Arm will sit back. This little chrome piece will sit like that. All right, so same on this side. All right, here's the upper body all taken care of. But I did want to show you, this is something I mentioned earlier. This emergency light loves to get stuck. It comes off and then it gets stuck inside of here. So I mean, you can get it out. You can fold the elbow, open up this little panel, and get it back out of there. I just find it silly that it comes off. So you can just get that back on there. And now we're done with this piece. All right, now we can move on to the lower body here. And like I said, you can do this as it's together. You don't have to do it like the way I'm doing it, but I'm going to do it as two separate pieces since we already have them apart. Go ahead and lift up this rear tailgate. Take out the gun if you haven't already. We can separate the tail from each other. There's an over-under puzzle piece tab here and here. So just get those detached. And on the bottom as well. And once you have those detached, you can come to this bumper piece here. This has a over-under puzzle piece there. Fold this down, and now we can separate the legs. Give yourself some room to work. These are a pain in the butt, so you need the room. So just be ready. All right, you're going to come to the top here. You can fold this down. This entire panel is going to rotate around. So you can fold this up. This has to come past this. It's tricky, you know. You kind of have to work it at the right angle. You can do it without collision like I just did, but it gets confusing. You know, things get confusing when you're doing this. So it should end up with something like this. Actually, we got to go a little bit more. Okay. And now that we have it rotated back, we can fold out the toe, bring it down on this little hinge. I'll talk about this hinge later. It's got problems. Leave this down in this little cavity right here. We're going to take this entire panel, and this is another thing, you've got to rotate it past to be able to swing it across underneath this piece. Yeah, I don't really like how any of this works, but it is how it works. And then this is going to sit right in here. And there's a little slot right in here that the peg on the windshield is going into, so make sure that lines up. And then get that pegged in. On the back, this is going into a slot. That right there is going to a slot on the side. So you kind of want to get all of that lined up. And then this puzzle piece tab is going to sit on top. So make sure you get all of those in. And like I said, this is a frustrating transformation in my opinion. All right, now that we have that, you can swing this open, swing this around. While you do that, you can bring this down and then open this up. It has to be in that sequence, otherwise you'll go scrape plastic, plastic. You don't want to do that. All right, so bring this around. Oops. And as you do, make sure you push this up and inwards. You can straighten up this knee now. Actually, no, don't straighten up the knee now. Bring this around. And now we can straighten up the knee a little bit. And you should get that panel upwards. Here we go. And this came undone, so just fix it. This is going to come down and peg in to here. And on the other side, there's a slot right here. So bring this down. Things are coming apart on me. There we go. So that's one leg, and this you can kind of do whatever. I like to put it in here just to kind of hide it away. But that's one leg done. It's kind of a very specific sequence, so you have to do it, otherwise things get caught up. So I'm going to do this one off camera. I'll be right back. All right, now that we get the legs complete, we can combine them back together. Like I mentioned earlier, you can do it as one. You don't have to do it as two parts. I just chose to, but you're going to push in on this button right here. That's going to release these clips, and then you can get it around this mushroom peg here. It's a very tight fit, so you gotta really push this button in, and then it'll get attached there. And then kind of a last step, which I should have done before, but fold out these heel spurs to give them a little bit better balance. All right, there's Paragon in robot mode, and I think he looks pretty darn good. You got some red paint on the head, blue for the eyes, white for the face and arms and legs, then red paint here on the chest and the abs, on the crotch and the thighs. It does look good. There is die cast in here on the legs, and I think no, just the legs. There are some die cast parts here too. This part here in the back of the legs, or this window part, is die cast, at least back here. So there's some mixed die cast parts in here. One of the issues, though, with this figure is looseness in the joints. These tend to give way, and unfortunately it's on a pin, that pin right there, so you can't really tighten it. So you kind of have to just balance him and leave him. Otherwise, you know, he tends to lean back. If you put the legs out wide, it definitely helps him balance better. But it's really this that, you know, those heels just needed a little bit of help. But while we're talking about, let's go over the articulation. Head's on a ball joint, so you get down to there, up to there, side to side, rotates around. Good looking head, by the way. Shoulders return on a friction, out to the side on a friction. Butterfly joint due to this chrome piece there. Rotation at the bicep. Double jointed elbow. The lower elbow is a little bit too tight, but it does work. It does loosen up over time too as you mess with it. You have a rotation at the wrist, in and out movement at the wrist. I really hate these hands. I think they're awful. Some of the worst hands in the Masterpiece game, only because they're all curled. The bottom three move together, and then the hand in a fist position just doesn't look natural. It just looks weird. So not the best. They've done good hands, and these aren't it. So I'm not sure why they did this. Oh, and this is an issue I mentioned earlier. I'm just going to leave it off for now, but this emergency light loves to fall off. Continuing down your waist rotation, you do have a ab crunch here. It's built into this double hinge, so you kind of got to lift it up, and then you can get it forward. It's just, I don't know. I don't love the way they do these, but at least this one's tight. It holds. You know, he doesn't fall over like their Ratchet figure that just falls over. This holds, so that's pretty good. Hip skirts on the front and back, and this is another one of these things. you have to open them in a certain sequence or they collide with each other. Leg will kick up to there, back to there on a ratchet, up to the side on friction, rotation at the thigh on a universal. Too loose, in my opinion. This is too loose. This is the problem with this figure. You know, some things are tight, some things are loose. It just seems like they got the tolerances off everywhere. You have a double jointed knee, but you really can't use it because this gets in the way. Even if you rotate it this way, which maybe it's meant to be that way. Let's get them both out of the way. You know, it still ends up colliding with itself. So they could have used this double joint. I don't see a way to do it without, you know, hitting the plastic. So that's why I said I'd rather just put this black piece here. So it's kind of hidden away. But you can do whatever you like. Continuing down, you have ankle tilt here. This is semi-decent tolerance. But this forward and backward is way too loose, which allows him to fall backwards. And then the knee joints don't help because they're not tight either. And then this rotation at the thigh is also not tight. So all of that combined together, you really have to pose him like this for him to stand in a more sturdy pose. For the accessories, we get his blaster done in this black paint. It's a good looking blaster that will fit into his hand. Typical style. And he can hold it like that. It's a good looking gun. And I'm not going to bring in the med bay again. I just think it's fine. It is what it is. And for a size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime, and comes up to about his chest. So fits in nicely again with the Masterpiece scale. I like the size. And here's another comparison, which I think people want to see, next to the Ocular Max version of First Aid Medicus. And he's quite a bit taller. And I actually think he looks better overall, just proportions and overall look, especially with the paint. However, I'm not sure the quality is the same or is there. And we're going to get into this during the full comparison of these two. So I'm not going to spend time here talking about it. So stay tuned for that comparison, but just wanted to show you how they look. So final recommendations on the X-Transbots Paragon. And once again, this is a mixed bag for me. I really think that the vehicle mode and the combined mode work really well. They look good, they perform well, and they seem rather sturdy and strong. So I'm impressed. If I was just judging those two alone, I'd give this a 4 out of 5. But because it has to transform into robot mode, that's where things fall apart for me. And, you know, this one is no different than some of the others in the recent past. Namely Ratchet and Ironhide. Just too complicated, right? Too many panels folding past panels, things like that, things falling off. So that's why I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. If you're not planning to transform it, you're going to put it into combined mode and you're going to leave it like that as Defensor. I think you'll be happy with this. But if you're planning to transform it back and forth, or at the very least you're going to use it in robot mode, I don't think it's going to work. It doesn't stay together. And things like, you know, the emergency lights falling off, the wheel that fell off the screw, things like bending plastic. I don't know how long that's going to last. I do have paint chipping here and there a little bit. You can't really see it because it's white on white, so it doesn't really show up, but there is little bits of paint chipping off. And those are the kinds of things that keep me from really enjoying X-Transbots. I think they could be a top tier company if they could just work out some of the engineering and some of the quality. Robot mode for me is the weakest, even though it looks great. It is a really good looking version of First Aid. It just doesn't have the quality that I want. And a lot of people buy these figures just for the looks. And if that's you, then I think you're probably going to be happy with it. For me personally though, the quality, the engineering, the design is very important because I do transform my figures. So for me, you know, that's why this score is lower. But that's it for today. Stay tuned for the comparison with the Ocular Max version. Thanks to, once again, Grant Z for sending this for review, and we'll see you next time.